Hello, beautiful souls. This is Masami. I hope you're doing well. This video is about Mercury retrograde, and I wanted to make this video because we are all influenced by cosmic calendar, and the Mercury retrograde is no exception. Some say Mercury retrograde complicates things and maybe muddle things in your life, and so many articles and videos have been made and written about this. But I kind of find them to be all focused on what not to do. And some of my clients and people that I have talked with feel like Mercury retrograde is, first of all, annoying and frustrating when it happens. And some of you actually feel fearful and get anxious about the Mercury retrograde around that time during the year, because we do get anywhere from 3 to 4 rounds of Mercury retrograde. But I don't see it that way. I see it as a blessing, a gift that is given to us by the universe. And it's like a present from cosmos, because it's a time for you and maybe chances to realign yourself with your true north and your true expressions and your value, and really quiet down and create stillness enough to check in with yourself and see how you are perceiving and living your reality, and to reboot yourself. This is a great time because it slows things down enough that you can see where you've been going, and maybe that needs a readjustment. And it's a great time to listen to the new that is trying to come through you and the old that you need to revisit. And it's a great time to receive some true inner guidance. So that's what I want to talk about in this video today. Mercury retrograde gives you the time to reflect and contemplate and pause, and collective pause is so necessary right now. And to collectively slow down, to me, that's a gift. It's so needed right now in this fast moving and overstimulating world that we live. So I want to share this video and to give you the chance to say, yes, I'm going to do this. And I am going to actively get involved in these things during Mercury retrograde. That's maybe the message that I'm going for with this video, so that you can navigate this period of Mercury retrograde with consciousness and gratitude, and openly receive the beauty and the beautiful blessings from cosmos during Mercury retrograde. So before I go forward, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please visit our website, masamicovey.com, MASAMICOVEY.com, and learn about our work at Breathe Inc. And we send out emails to our subscribers for the special offers and live calls that we do as well. So please do subscribe. In astrology, as many of you know, Mercury is the planet of communication, intellect, memory, travels, and transportation, even includes shipments. So I think we are used to hearing now that you shouldn't sign any contracts during this time, hold off on new projects or starting anything new, and check and back up your technologies like your computers and your phone, and double check and triple check things before you send it or before you embark on anything. So those are the things that we're very familiar with already. And the notion that I get oftentimes from Mercury retrograde is that we see it as inconvenience or something imposed on by the planetary system to us. But let's see if we can shift that now. So let's go into what to do during Mercury and say yes to. And so let's lean into the gift of this time that lasts about 3 weeks to about 4 weeks, if you count the shadow periods as well. Number one, I like to look at many of the RE verbs. So what I mean by that is these action words or verbs that starts with RE. So reflect, remember, reconnect, recognize, and so on and so forth. So I have several here that I wanted to go over. First, reflect. Self-reflection is so important. And Mercury retrograde gives us the time to go into that. It's the time of introspection. And it's the time to remember your commitments, maybe goals and dreams that you set out to do. Maybe years ago, maybe last Mercury retrograde, you set something up, or maybe this year you had something. And, this is something that you want to remember and revisit because it's the promises that you made to yourself. And maybe some of these goals and dreams involved other people. So go ahead and go back and remember some of that and tie up loose ends. And I think one thing that I remember my father always said to me ever since I was a kid was remember who you are. And that was a very kind of a deep thing that my father was trying to get me to understand because remembering who you are changes as we grow. Maybe when you're younger, remembering who you are was very different than maybe when you're in your 50s, 60s, and 70s and 80s. So see what you can do to remember what's important to you right now. And that's what, the Mercury retrograde gives you the chance to do that. Next is to reconnect with what is important right now, but also something that stood the test of time. So things that you can go back and say, yeah, that's still very important to me. Then reconnect with that. That is important to you today, but it was important to you then also. And maybe reconnect with your own internal rhythm, maybe the rhythm with the solar rhythm and the moon rhythm, but also reconnect with maybe people that supported you and supports you. Next would be recognize the beauty around you, beauty within you, small miracles, because there's so many of us that are looking for miracles that are big and large and maybe something that will awe you and inspire you, but there are so many small miracles that are happening all around you every day. For instance, today I was working on this and this honeybee kept coming to me. And I was working outside and this honeybee just would come around and come right in front of my computer, just kind of letting me know the sweetness of life. So think about small things like that, even that will just let you know to recognize that the beauty is all around you and within you because you are beautiful. And also recognize some of your accomplishments that you've done and you have enjoyed over the years, this year, maybe this past couple weeks, things like that. Acknowledge how far you have come also. That's the beauty of the Mercury retrograde, is that you get to look back and remember and recognize all these things that you have been able to come through and overcome. And Mercury is ways that you can consciously perceive reality. Mercury helps with that for us to perceive the reality better. So this is a good time to check in with yourself and say, is it true? What I'm perceiving to be my reality, is it true? Is it false? Maybe is it aligned with my own values? Or am I seeing this from misalignment? So just check in with yourself. This is a great time, 3 weeks that you can do this for yourself. Next will be remove. So outdated habits and beliefs and programmings and things that you have outgrown, practices that's just no longer serving you, remove. Revise and review your plans and goals you set out also. So not just to remember some of these goals, but to revise and review. And I think this is when finance is very important to revise and review. So savings, how are you using your money? Where are you allocating your finance and your money to? Long-term goals that, is it getting financed and supported by the way you're using the money? And your lifestyle may need to be revised and reviewed at this point. Maybe it's time for you to downsize. Maybe it's time for you to release things from not just your closets and your garage, but there's certain things that are limiting your financial growth then think about that and revise it and remove that if it's necessary. Another, finances starts with F, and the next one is friendships and maybe families. There are certain family members that are maybe keeping you blocked or holding you back. Friendships that just may need to be revisited, revised, but also remembered and cherished also. And refocus here. Focus on what it is that you are here to do, what it is that you made the commitment to do. So reevaluate your routine and how your routine is supporting and benefiting you. Those things are important. Remembering and reflecting back and the promises that you made for yourself. Reconnect with friends, maybe rituals and practices that's been helpful for you, and reconnect with things that are just feed your soul. That's what's so important for you, that you reconnect with that as well. So those are some of the words that I wanted to mention. Number 2 is to slow down. Slowing down is so necessary in this time in our human history, more than ever. I just recently heard Pema Chodron talk about this, and she said that the being patient is the antidote to aggression. So slowing down and being patient can help you to cure the aggressions and warlike mentality as well. So see if you can pause even just now and say, wow, this is the area that I'm getting aggressive about or angry about, or things that really trigger me. And I'm moving with the very much of a speediness here, so I can maybe slow down here. So Mercury retrograde is a beautiful time. What a gift for all of us to be able to slow down. We need to slow down more than ever and regain your perspectives and clarity. And we can't regain that and see clearly of what it is that you need to be doing if you don't slow down enough. And one thing that I often think about this time during Mercury retrograde is my mother folding the laundry very, very slowly and with attention to details, and like thanking the clothes that clothed her. And I remember those scenes that she would fold these. Growing up in Japan, we had washing machines, but we didn't have a dryer. So everything was sun dried, and to fold them and everything else, it took a long time to do laundry. But there's a word in Japanese called tene. And tene is bringing the gratitude towards what you're doing. You slow it down enough to do the dishes or folding the laundry, making your bed, sweeping the front, even washing your face, brushing your teeth. You're not just doing it to check off the list of things you're doing, but you slow it down enough that there's this attention to details and attitude towards gratitudes that will come in when you slow down. And physically, I wanted to bring up topic of physical changes that can happen during Mercury retrograde that is connected to this slowdown. So Mercury retrograde is all about slowing down and creating the pace that is more manageable. But when that happens, our bodies do slow down as well. And one of the things that you may notice is the slowing down in motility. So your digestion could get a little sluggish. Things won't digest as quickly or regularly, so maybe constipation type of thing, but that can cause you to have dysbiosis, which is the imbalance of your microbes in your gut. And that can lead to SIBO or like leaky gut issues, gut permeability issues. So pay attention to some of these things. And one of the ways that you can really help out the slowing of your digestive power and the movements is to chew your foods, to really, really chew and taste and mix it with the saliva so that you are supporting the digestion below your mouth. And other things that really can come up during the Mercury retrograde that will slow down for you, that you might notice, is lymph flow. and also bile flow. And those two are kind of connected as well. So the lymph flow requires your movements, regular movements. And this does not have to be really hard workouts or anything like that. But this rhythmic movements that you go for, that you set the stage for maybe in the morning or in the evening that you can go for, that's going to be very helpful. And lymphatic system is very connected to your GALT, which is gut associated lymphoid tissues, which is right in the belly button area. So when you move and when you do breathing exercises, that can help with your lymph flow. And the lymph flow is very connected to your bile flow. And the bile is supported by your liver and it's held by the gallbladder. So that region of your body is going to be very important. This is the time that you want to reflect back at some of the things that you've felt angry about, frustrated about, agitated about, and see if you can begin to slowly process that and digest that. And slow is the key here. And to support the gallbladder, make sure that you are taking herbs and supplements that will help your liver and gallbladder functions. And that you may notice that the wound healing can be a little slowed down during the Mercury retrograde. So support that with zinc and B vitamins. So hopefully that's going to be helpful in terms of your physiological slowdown, which is not good or bad. It's something you have the control over, things that you can actually attend to. And control isn't like, I'm going to control my body, but it's like, I'm in partnership with this. This is what's happening. I'm aware of it. And instead of getting more frustrated with it, you can attend to that. So it's time to slow down. Your body's asking you to slow down. And one of the ways that that's very helpful during this Mercury retrograde is to cook your foods at home. Maybe take time to chop your onions and garlic and vegetables and prepare your meals at home that usually maybe take a little too long or extra steps are involved. This is a great time to do that because things are slowing down. So what a great time, right? To say, okay, I'm just going to take time and prepare a meal that is very nourishing to my system, to my lymphatic system. I'm going to chew my foods and support my digestion. And if you don't take time and consciously change the way you are living during the Mercury retrograde, you are going to experience things like restlessness and scattered energy and brain fog and sleep difficulties. But if you are taking care of yourself, you will actually realize how tired you have become. And 40% or more of the world population, and mostly in the world like North America and Europe and in places like Japan, we are sleep deprived, 40% or more. So you may actually begin to realize that, wow, I am really tired. So once again, don't find that to be inconvenience to your life, but look at it as what a gift that I need to slow down to recognize how tired I have become. And some of you may experience, if you are not slowing down enough and taking care of yourself and honoring the Mercury retrograde and receiving the gift from this, then you might start to experience things like unfocused mind and tension headaches, especially if you're not having good lymphatic flow. So really make sure there's this gentle flow that is happening through you. You may need to spend some extra time on your lymphatic system. And if you're certainly experiencing anxiety, you are not in alignment with what's happening on the cosmic level. And it's like Mercury retrograde of way saying, please slow down, please take care of yourself, and then address the internal needs and come back to your own inner knowing space. That's what anxiety is trying to tell you. We've made some videos on anxiety and I will link it below here so you can check out those as well. So number one, we've already gone through the re-based verbs, like actions that you can take. And number two is to slow down. Number three is to get started. And you might think, wait a minute, I thought the Mercury retrograde is not the time to get started on anything. Well, it's certainly not the time to get started on a new project. But if you were anything like what I am and what I go through in my life, is that I have many, many projects that I've always wanted to get started on, that I have never been able to fully get started or finished, or halfway finished with certain articles or books, things like that. So get started on what you had been wanting to do for a long, long time. This is the time that things will slow down enough for you to reconnect with those goals and things that you put on the back burner that maybe you can pull it to the front. Okay. And Mercury retrograde is actually, this may surprise you, many of you, it's a highly motivational and creative time. And it's internally, especially internally, it's a motivational time. So please don't look at it as a time that everything has to stop, nothing's going to move forward. It's not like that. There's so much that is actually flowing through. It's just in a very different pace. It's slower, but it's steady and it's very much aligned to what you need. So if you can come back to that and motivate yourself, I think you're going to find this time to be such a blessing. And you're going to come out of it and say, wow, I'm looking forward to another Mercury retrograde that we will be having. And it does come, right? It does come, like I said, 3 to 4 times per year. And you can tap into something you had been postponing at this time, and something you had thought about for many years, but never quite got started on. But this is something that's not a new idea, once again, but it's something that you've thought about for a long time, many times over. You've wrote it down on the notebook, sticky notes. That's the stuff that I want you to get started on. Some ideas and projects that you had been cooking for a long time. This is a great time to plunge into it because you have less distractions right now. The world will feel there's a little bit of slowing down that is happening. And it's a great time to unplug from social media anyway. Things have slowed down enough that you can think better and process better within. Okay. And refer back to what you have always wanted to accomplish, though, once again, and find your flow. So it's not just about starting, but this is a great time that you can slow down enough to find your own currency. You can find your flow. And it takes about 3 to 4 weeks for most of us that are distracted and going at 100 miles an hour with our minds all the time or faster. For us to slow down enough to really get in touch with our own flow takes about 3 to 4 weeks. So Mercury retrograde, what a great time to tap into that 3 to 4 weeks period. Okay. And Mercury retrograde can rewire your neurons in the brain because we slow down enough to rewire ourselves. So we're not just going on this fast-paced life, but you can start to change the way you think, the wiring, and then the motion inside your brain. So this is the time that I don't want you to miss out on. Okay. And it's a great time to slow down, find your flow, and find your focus again. If you had issues with the flow of your own mind, but also in the flow in your body, I will link a page here for Cosmic Flow course that I've created as well, that we go into different organs, different systems to create more cosmic flow from within. So please check that out. So with all this, I hope that you can begin to see the Mercury retrograde as a beautiful blessing that is gifted to you for about 3 weeks or a little bit longer, 3, 4 times per year. And I think one thing that we want to keep in mind at the end of my talk here is that Mercury retrograde is such a beautiful time for you to vertically connect. And what I mean by vertically connect is that you, the earth, and then the heavens. So this vertical line of communications starts to really heightened this time of the Mercury retrograde, because there's so much of the distractions and the noise of the horizontal connections are dialed down and quiet down. So in that, you will be able to find more of your true north, like I said, and that true connection that you have within yourself with the heavens and the earth, and find that realignment again. And one thing for sure is that the Mercury retrograde does not mean it's easy or it's comfortable or it's just all slowing down and quiet. No, there will be challenges, absolutely. But I think we live in a world that we are always seeking for comfort and assurance and certainty. That's why we want predictions and we want somebody to tell us what to do. And we just kind of follow the same grooves in our brains. We're not introducing new ways of looking at things. So please don't seek comfort during Mercury retrograde because it can be uncomfortable. But in that discomfort is when you begin to grow as who you are. So become comfortable actually in the discomfort. I think that's what Mercury retrograde is really, really teaching us, from revisiting and remembering and reassessing to slowing down, to finding our own flow by getting going on your dreams and goals that you've set out to do for a long time. Those things are not comfortable. Those things will bring up some emotions. Those things will be challenging. But see if you could get comfortable in that discomfort. And once you do that, I think you'll find that vertical connections to be stronger, and you'll find yourself using this time over and over in the future to grow as who you are, to become what you're meant to become. That's what I have for you. Enjoy the Mercury retrograde's gifts. Namaste.